Hello and welcome to another Glenn Maney Talks Chelsea, and today we're going to talk about last night's 0-1 defeat to Juventus over in Italy and what a stink it's caused. Social media has gone into meltdown. Has Tuchel been found out? Tuchel's got no plan B. Most of the players should be sold. You honestly couldn't write it, could you? You honestly could not write it. Oh dear, I do worry for this world, I really do. And our fan base, I've never known anything like this. I shouldn't really go on social media. I think I'll just delete my Twitter, that's the easiest thing, isn't it? But some of the Facebook posts, oh. Anyway, last night we played a super defensive team who played on the break, which is what I think most of us would have guessed would be the case. And they did it very, very well. I'll be honest. They packed behind the ball. I tell you, it made me think. Well, there's two things. First of all, it made me think at the start of the season. Someone said, "Oh, I wouldn't pay 40 million for Eden Hazard." Can you imagine last night, half an hour left, having Eden Hazard on the bench? Do you think we would have played him? That's one little thing to think about. The other thing, of course, was yesterday. I said I do worry. After watching that Manchester City game, we've got no Kante, but what I worry about is we've got no Mount. We've got no, as I said in my previous video, pressure valve. Someone that can run at them, someone that can produce a little bit of magic. Everyone's so pent up with Mason Mount having 2 or 3 games that are below his highest standard that they've forgotten what a great player he is. Not the finished article. Sometimes makes the wrong decision, but overall a great player. Some of the people want him sold. You know, he didn't even play last night. I bet they still want him sold, or he'll be injury prone. I mean, we talk about Pulisic last night. He was missing as well. Pulisic with half an hour to go could have made a difference in that side. Straight run at them, probably what we needed. I was amazed when I didn't see Werner. One thing that side hasn't got at the back, Juventus, is pace. Bonucci, you know, brought Chiellini on. So perhaps Thomas Tuchel, in hindsight, might have got his initial team selection wrong. But I'll also address, before we start, the fact that he's got no plan B. At 60 minutes, he brought on half of Cobham. He tried to change the dynamic of the game. It didn't work. We looked, to be honest, more likely to break through. And Lukaku, a header that I don't know what he was doing, and one that he should have tucked away. Bad night at the office for Lukaku. This morning, people want Lukaku sold. Oh dear. Oh. So, by the way, for people, Lukaku has done it in Italy. He has done it in Italy. He spent the whole season there where he was top scorer. He was Golden Boot winner. So, for those that say it's because he can't play against those sort of defences. Now, I will say this. I was very impressed with De Ligt. He reminded me of a young John Terry with a little bit of Rio Ferdinand mixed in. What an exciting prospect that lad is. And I'll tell you what, Chelsea buy anyone next year, it'd be nice to see him go out and get him for a long-term signing. I tell you, Liverpool raving about Van Dijk. I tell you what, he's a good young lad. He really is. So yeah, Juventus last night. We played. I was disappointed with the performance. We played with a lack of tempo. Everyone says I moan about Jorginho, but when you've got to force the pace and when you need forward balls, he's not the man to have in your midfield. Simple as that. As far as I'm concerned, that's just my opinion. I'm sure many of you will disagree. So I looked at the team. I said to some people yesterday I was worried about the game because of the players we had out. And then when I saw the team, I was even more worried. You know, Reece James would have been good last night to try and break them down, but Aspie was there, and he did what he did what he could. So we had 73% possession, which doesn't surprise me because for the most of that first half we played the ball around, normally sideways and backwards, without ever looking like we're going to breach their defences. And Ziyech might as well not have been there really. He had a shot and 2 decent passes, and the rest of the time he either gave away fouls, which I counted as being 6, where he had no chance of getting the ball. He's actually tackling the bloke from the wrong side. Only one way it's going to go. It's going to be a foul. And yeah, he looked. There were 10 minutes there where he actually looked like he cared, and he actually looked like he was giving it 110%. So I take my hat off to him for that. But his actual contribution last night was very, very poor overall. Alonso was shocking. Gave the ball away when he did get forward and did have a chance to cross into the box. He opted to play the ball backwards, and I don't think that's Tuchel telling him to do that, because if you look at the interview with Tuchel after the game, he's as frustrated as us lot are. He's saying you need more balls in the box, you need it to be more, you need to penetrate more. So he's frustrated. So Alonso might as well not been on that pitch. With Chiesa down Aspie's wing, he was doing more defensive duties than being able to get forward. So to stretch him was almost impossible in that first half. We gave the ball away. We gave silly individual mistakes, which again I can't put down to Tuchel, and I'm sure those on the net that are putting it down to him. If you have a real think about it, if he's not actually on the pitch with a ball at his feet, he can't really do much about individual mistakes. Jorginho gave it away twice and got caught in possession twice in dangerous areas. Kovacic gave a bad ball away, almost set the guy up for a, it might have been, was it a shot at goal, or did Rudy get across? Can't remember, but no, it was. I think it was a shot at goal, yeah. But Rudy just got enough in front of it. But clear. Who else? Alonso gave it away. I think I've said him. We were just making poor decisions and giving the ball away easy. When we had possession, when we had possession, it was worrying. It was worrying. Concentration, which has been our strength in the last, since Tuchel took over, seemed to have gone out the window again. So second half, Tuchel couldn't do nothing about the goal. We switched off. It's actually, I thought Silva should have closed Chiesa down quicker. It was one of them. It was if you look at it, it was a sort of like catalogue of errors, and we're behind. We're behind to probably one of the best defensive sides in Europe after 11 seconds of the second half, with no tempo and no creative players to actually have a run at them. So Chilwell had been brought on, which I think would have been because Alonso was so poor. And he did get forward more. It's hard to judge a player that's not played and then just being thrown on against Juventus in the second half of a European Cup game. But I thought he did really well. Wasn't pitch perfect, but I thought he did well, and he gave us another option. At least he was looking to go forward, looking to give an option out there, and I felt sorry for him a couple of times because he went bombing forward. He was on their last man, obviously screaming for the ball, to be played behind or between the two centre backs, and he didn't get the ball. Normally it was it was Kovacic or well, Jorginho. He just so anyway, he was screaming for the ball, didn't get it. So Tuchel, no plan B. 60 minutes, he brings on most of the English contingent of our squad that wasn't injured. He brought on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I was pleased to see him. He brought on Callum Hudson-Odoi, and oh, and he brought on Trevor Chabala to replace Jorginho, and I could see why he did that, just to change the dynamic, to give us a little bit more athleticism in that midfield, and to be able to drive forward. So, no plan B. I don't think you could do more than that. If that had come off, which it nearly did, because Lukaku should have scored, if that had come off, Tuchel would have been a genius. But as it is this morning, there's a couple of people saying Tuchel out. And so yeah, that was plan B, and we did look a lot more able to penetrate them. There was a lot more energy. I thought Callum Hudson-Odoi absolutely had a stinker when he came on. Twice out of 9 occasions when he got the ball one-on-one, he got by his man. Their defence was very good, and very often they got a man across very quickly to stop his cross, but he got one cross in out of 9 opportunities. I haven't got my notes in front of me, but I think it was 3 times he just run straight into the man. He looks up, he's not looking at the ball. I don't know what's gone wrong with him, but I thought he had an absolute stinker. You know, you might as well kept Aspie there really for all the good that he did. Chalobah, I thought he'd done really, really well. He was good defensively, and he was good at getting forward. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, there was one moment there, I don't know if you remember it, when he was going into the area, he chose to pass to Callum Hudson-Odoi when he could have shot. The whole goal opened up for him, and he could have shot. He was on the edge of the 18-yard box, and he passed it to Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now maybe that's a lack of confidence from not playing. Because everything else he did, I thought he was giving them something to think about at least, and he was drawing a couple of players to him. But again, poor decision making. Something that Tuchel he can work on, getting people to shoot in training, but can't do anything about bad decision making when they're actually on that pitch. And then Ross Barkley, the much maligned Ross Barkley, comes on, and I'll tell you what, I thought he looked more likely to breach that defence than anyone else. It's a shame he came on with only 11 minutes to go, because at least he's positive. At least he thinks, right, I'll dribble past these, I'll have a go. Because if you're not getting out wide and you're not shooting, at least try dribbling by a couple. That's what Eden would have done, isn't it? So yeah, it was disappointing. I think you're playing one of the best defensive sides in Europe. All right, I've not been playing well lately. Look at that side, you know, at the back. Bonucci, De Ligt. They bring on was it Chiellini? Look at that side. Bernardeschi, Chiesa. You know, there were no mugs. It wasn't as if, you know, we've going through. Have Chelsea been found out? We've played Manchester City, probably, arguably, the best team in Britain, and we've played Juventus, probably the best defensive side in Europe, and we've lost 1-0 both times. Now, if we go and lose 6-0 to Southampton on Saturday, you'll hear me saying, oh, I think the wheels have come off. But let's have a bit of perspective. A lot of individual mistakes last night. very low tempo, which Tuchel's got to address. Got to address. Like I say, a lot of individual mistakes, a lot of bad decision making, and lots of great defending from Juventus. That's why we lost. That's why we lost. Simple as that. Could we have done more? Yeah, of course we could. We could play the ball quicker. That's what needs to happen. We could play it out wide. That's what needs to happen. But some of the criticism I've seen this morning and some of the hysteria is absolutely balmy. So let's score them. Mendy didn't really have a lot to do, did he? Didn't really have a chance with a goal, I don't think. I've watched it a few times. No, his distribution was good. The two balls he had to catch in the air, he caught one punch. Yeah, Mendy gets a 7 from me. Aspie worked hard, defended well. Got Chiesa on that side, or Chiesa, whichever way you pronounce it, and had his work cut out with him. Couldn't be too offensive because of those breaks. Did okay though. He gets a 7 from me. Christensen, he gets a 7. Silva, yeah, he could have got closer on the goal, but he gets a 7. Same as Rudiger. Alonso gets a 4 from me. Thought he was shocking. In midfield, we had Jorginho, who gets a 5. Kovacic, who gets a 6. Last night, I said, I've already mentioned Ziyech, he gets a 5. Havertz, last night, it was a weird game, but more often than not, he was either losing it, giving it away, it wasn't sticking to him, or he was putting headers over the bar. Poor game by his standards, he gets a 5 from me. Lukaku, I felt a bit sorry for him. He wasn't getting the service. We weren't playing to his strengths, that is a fact. There was times he was calling for a first time ball, and Jorginho thought it was better to play it to Mendy. Times when Kova had the ball, Lukaku's screaming. Kovacic thought it was better to play it to Aspie. So it was a hard one for Lukaku. He should have scored. He should have got a header on target. £100 million centre forward who's played in Italy and played in the Premiership. So I'm going to be a lot tougher on him than I am on some of the players who are in new leagues, etc., or still getting used to stuff or haven't got the European experience. And I'm going to give him a 6. Wasn't awful, but I expect him to score when he gets chances like that. When players came on, Chilwell, I'm going to give a 7. I thought he did okay. Certainly a lot better than Alonso was on that wing. Callum Hudson-Odoi, I'm giving a 4. Thought he was awful. In the midfield, a 7 goes to Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Chalobah. And a 7 goes to Ross Barkley when he came on. I don't normally score the substitutes, but I thought they did make a hell of a difference. Tommy Tuchel, he gets a 7 from me. He did try a plan B. You can't do no more than he did. He changed the formation and he changed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the personnel. So if that's not a plan B, maybe a bit of a plan C, I don't know what is. So I think a lot of the criticism coming his way this morning is unwarranted. Would I have made the changes earlier? Yes, I would, but I'm not manager of Chelsea. I don't see their strengths and weaknesses in training. So in Tommy I trust. That's it really, folks. I'm disappointed like you are. And that's 2 games on the trot, but I think I've said, you know, they were 2 tough games. Games we should win, don't get me wrong, and games I want to see us win, but not games I'm going to start putting a noose up and thinking of hanging myself for. Okay folks, let me know what you think. That's why I do these. Please subscribe to the channel. Nice to know that people still want it, and throw me a like. I'd say we're getting lots of views and very few likes, so a few more likes would be great. Right, onwards and upwards. Southampton Saturday, and I shall speak to you lot after that. Let me know what you think. That's why I do these, and thanks for watching. Up to Chelsea.